Hello? Hi? Are we live? Hi? Are we live? Seems like it. Okay. Hello. Welcome. This video is mainly intended for Andrew and Lauren, but if you are also trying to learn Magic Draft and want to tune in, please stick around. We're going to teach you how to draft Magic the Gathering with Foundations, which is, in my opinion, the best way to learn how to play Magic in general, better yet, how to start drafting. For the next couple weeks, I think at least 2 weeks, if you log into Magic Arena and you skip the tutorial and you click play on the bottom right, you go over to events, which is right up here. My face is blocking. Oops. I dragged the whole screen. My face is kind of blocking it. I'll move myself. If you go over here to events, you go down to limited, and then you should see right over here, quick draft, Magic the Gathering Foundations. And that's what you need. Whoop. Drag myself back over here. It's a fairly cheap entry fee. You can gather up 5,000 gold. Not too difficultly. You can also just pay for gems, but we'll just go with the 5,000 coins we have lying around. Now, Quick Draft is an unlimited amount of time. You're drafting against bots. So, what I'd like to do is I like to lay the deck out, and I like to go from bottom to top. In other words, from commons up to uncommons up to rares. And just say, okay, what's in this pack? Blue-black, dual land is nice. Giant Growth is combat trick, it's okay. Ambush Wolf, pretty situational, like not that good overall. Sure Strike, again, it's a combat trick, so not bad. Stab, removal card, that's a very good card. I'm considering that as one of my top picks. Gutless Plunderer. It works in the raid deck, right? Like it synergizes with other raid cards, but not the first card I want to pick. Strix Lookout is a good card. Certainly not the strongest card I've seen. If so far, what I'm going through in this pack of cards, Stab would be what I'm going to pick, because it's a cheap removal spell. This might be my second consideration, because it has some utility, but certainly not the strongest card I've seen so far. Erudite Wizard. Yeah, not what I'm first picking. A 3-mana 2/3 is kind of understated. What I mean by that is 3 mana for 2 power, 3 toughness is worse than most other cards you're going to play for 3 mana. It can kind of step up later, but in limited Magic, you want a card that's going to affect the board as soon as you play it and not necessarily wait for something else to trigger it, so not really something I'm that interested in first picking. Prideful Parent, 3 mana 2/2. When it enters, create a 1/1 cat creature. So this is a great card in the cat deck. Like, solid card. Like, not a first pick card, but a solid card to see later. Blanchwood Armor, +1/+1 for each forest you control, is pretty bad. Because in limited Magic, you're generally speaking not playing a monocolor deck. That's pretty rare. So even though it's an uncommon card, I would easily pick Stab or Strix Lookout over it. Goblin Negotiation. Does X damage to a creature, and then I create a number of goblin creatures equal to the amount of excess damage dealt. That's a pretty solid card, like in a vacuum. It's still not better than Stab in my opinion. Because yes, getting the extra goblins is, yeah, that's a nice thing, but again, in limited, 1 mana to deal 2 damage means you might kill a 2 or 3 drop, right? Like they're 2 mana or 3 mana. Let's take, for example, I just paid 3 mana to play Gutless Plunderer, and then your opponent decides, I'm going to play 1 mana card to kill your 3 mana card. Who's ahead? The person who played Stab is obviously ahead. Goblin Negotiation is like, yeah, you get to kill a certain creature for maybe, like, I don't know, 5 mana to deal 3, and then make 3 Goblin tokens, which I'm not saying is bad, but in my opinion, Stab is better. Because you're dealing 1 mana to potentially deal lethal damage to a 3 mana spell. Versus Goblin Negotiation, you have to pay like 5 mana to deal 3 damage to a spell. Maybe that was like worth 3 or 4 mana. So Stab is still putting you ahead on mana. And that's kind of the underlying theme of limited Magic. You want to be ahead on mana. So, anyway. An offer you can't refuse. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Based on what I literally just said, I hope you can decipher this card is pretty bad in Limited. Again, Commander, Standard, Modern, all separate formats. In Limited, you're paying 1 mana to counter a non-creature spell. And again, in Foundations, there's a lot of creatures. And then you're giving your opponent 2 mana. So for 1 mana, you have put them down maybe 3 or 4 mana for their non-creature spell, which again doesn't happen that often. Plus you're giving them 2 treasure tokens. How does this help you? Unless you're countering like they're gonna pay 9 mana to Rise of the Dark Realms and like reanimate all graveyards. Right, but how often does this card really pop up? So this card's pretty bad. Swiftblade Vindicator. Double Strike Vigilance Trample. 2 mana for a 1/1 is like, I don't like that. Plus it's a red-white, which makes it harder to cast. But also a red-white Double Strike Vigilance and Trample. Like, if you can pump this card up, this is pretty good. So, what do we pick here? I'm going to pause. I'm going to let everybody think about it. I kind of made my pick already, but I want to see where everybody else kind of falls here. Oops. Hold on, I messed something up here. That's where I should be. Okay. Can you still see the I don't think so. Hold on, technical difficulties. Hope I did not give too much away here. What's going on? Hold on. Gives you more time to think about it. Oh goodness, what? Hold on. There we go. Pop out chat is here. Okay. Did you pause? What did you find? So the pick for me here is Stab. It's cheap. It's removal. It's versatile. It's an incredibly strong pick. The rest of the pack is kind of just mediocre. The rare in the pack, which is a mythic, is, of course, yeah, this card's awesome. You don't get to 9 mana very often in limited Magic. So we're going to pass. This is a red-white card that just makes sure you're in the red-white path. And I don't know if that's where we want to be yet. Picking this card says, I really want to be in red-white. And that means you're kind of restricted in the rest of the cards you pick. I don't necessarily want to go into red-white. I would rather be like, oh, I have a good black card. I could be black blue or black green or black red or black white. Like, I have more versatility with this card. It's a good removal card. These uncommons just aren't really hitting it for me, so I'm going to pick Stab. Alright, next pack. Same rules apply. As a basic mountain, a gold vein pick. Creature that's equipped gets +1/+1 when it deals damage to a... combat damage to a player. Create a treasure token, equip 1. It's okay. Not really that good. Giant growth again. Combat trick, not really that good. Fanatical Firebrand. 1/1 with haste. Sacrifice it, deals 1 to any target. Is okay. Axguard Cavalry. 2 mana, 2/2. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. If you tap it, again, okay. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. 3 mana, 3/2. It's okay. Witness Protection. Enchant a creature. It loses all abilities and is a citizen creature with base power and toughness 1/1 named Legitimate Business Person. It's an okay removal card. Not necessarily what we want to take. Vanguard Seraph Flying. Whenever you gain life for the first turn, surveil 1. 4 mana. Maybe. I don't know. Ha. Heraldic Banner. 3 mana artifact. Whenever you use a color, creatures of the trios in color get +1/+0, and then it's also a mana rock. This is not a bad card. We'll talk about this later. Shivan Dragon. Holy crap, a dragon, but it's a 6 mana dragon. It costs 2 red pips. It's a flyer. You can pump it up to deal +1/+0. If this creature had haste, I'd be like, yeah, this is incredible. But it doesn't have that. Wait till you play Tarkir Dragonstorm and you find a better version of this card, which is cheaper and has haste. Anyway, no, not the card I want to take. Seeker's Folly. This seems like a good card, but it's a trap. It says choose 1. Target opponent discards 2 cards, or creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 till end of turn. 3 mana sorcery speed to do -1/-1 to the opponent's board is not very good. The whole discard 2 cards thing is, yes, in some situations that's pretty strong, but overall not very good. Arcane Epiphany. 5 mana, 2 blue pips. It costs 1 less if I control wizard to draw 3 cards. Good card. Really belongs in the blue-red deck where there are more wizards kind of roaming around. But it is a pretty good card. And then Joust Through. It deals 3 damage to an attacking or blocking creature, and I gain a life. That falls into the whole cheap removal spell category. Okay. We are going to pause and let you decide. But then I'm going to bring up another point about like how we... I'm putting down some notes here about how we draft, but I already kind of made my pick. I just want to know what y'all think. Did you pause? What did you find? Alright. So it's a bit of a toss-up for me. There are 2 cards here where I'm just like, yeah, this is where we want to be. Oh, hold on. Shoot. There we go. Sorry, still doing the whole streaming thing. In my opinion, it's a bit of a toss-up between Joust Through and Arcane Epiphany. Again, we haven't picked any creatures yet because these creatures so far have not been very powerful. Arcane Epiphany is card draw. If we're going to build a deck that is centered around killing our creatures, killing our opponent's creatures, we want to have some cards that then draw us a bunch of cards at instant speed specifically, because instead of, I have 5 open mana, right? I just have 5 mana laying around. Well, I could play a Joust Through, I could play an Arcane Epiphany, or I can play a Stab. it kind of gives you a chance to look at what your opponent has done that turn and then decide, you only deployed like one kind of weak creature, or you deployed a creature that I can't really kill with my stab. I'm going to draw 3 cards instead. That's pretty powerful. So because we already have a cheap removal spell, and because Joust Through is kind of situational, my pick is Arcane Epiphany. It costs 1 less to cast if you control Wizard, which is like, okay, alright. But drawing 3 cards in Magic is insane. Card advantage will often win you the game. There is a very powerful blue-black control archetype in Foundation, so I'm going to kind of see if we lean into that. But I ultimately want to pick the strongest card in each pack before I commit to one archetype. Okay, that being said, we are now greeted with a Rugged Highlands, which is a dual land, which is nice. A Wary Thespian. This is a solid common spell. It's a 2-mana 3/1. When it enters or dies, surveil 1. So in other words, you're filtering your deck to find what you want. This is a premium common card. If I'm playing green, I would love to see this card. So, high on the consideration list. Goblin Borders. Great in the red-black deck. Like, phenomenal in the raid. I'm going to attack every turn. I play this card, which gets pumped up when I play it. I attack with it. I play another raid card. Like, this is a good card in the red-black deck. Doesn't seem like where we want to be currently. Soul Shackled Zombie. This card is just not very good. If your opponent is playing a Graveyard Recursion deck, sure, this is a worthy sideboard card. Certainly not a card you're picking for your main deck. With those first 4 picks that you're using, you probably don't want to take this card. Mocking Sprite. 3 mana 2/1 flyer. That's bad. I don't care that this card has flying. 3 mana for 2/1 worth of stats is bad. But it also says instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's tempting, right? But it doesn't help stab, right? It says it costs 1 colorless less to cast. Stab is just a black pip. Arcane Epiphany already has built into it 1 less mana cost if you control Wizard. So for our deck, card doesn't work. Light Shell Duo. This was from Bloomborough. I like this card. 4 mana 3/4, which is like, that's not that good. But Prowess means every time we play a non-creature spell, it will get +1/+1. When it enters, we surveil 2. That's card filtering. Gets our deck to where it wants to be. Solid card. Haha. Big Fin Bouncer. Phenomenal card. Phenomenal common. Might be the card we pick here. Why? Because it says when it enters your turn, a creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand. But why is that good? All we're doing is putting a card back in their hand. They'll just recast it the next turn. You're correct. But that's a tempo play. Instead of using their mana to play another big spell or do something else that's going to impact the board, they have to replay their same card for like 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana, whatever. You're putting them automatically behind. Also, if they have +1/+1 counters on them, if they have equipment on them, if they have artifacts, auras, whatever, you're kicking that card back to their hand. And you're getting rid of all those things. Big Fin Bouncer is a phenomenal card in Limited, and cards that are similar to this, you should almost always pick these. We already have a black-blue theme going on. This kind of is like we get to play interaction/removal and have board presence at the same time. This card is very good at doing both those things. Conversely, Luminous Rebuke, which is like destroy something, not a bad card. But it's not in the colors we're currently choosing, and also, it only does one thing, right? I said Big Fin Bouncer gets to be a 3/2 creature and interact with something, Luminous Rebuke only does one thing. It destroys something. I'm not saying that's bad, right? Destroying something is obviously better than bouncing it back to the opponent's hand. But Big Fin Bouncer is accomplishing two things, and Luminous Rebuke is only doing one. Conversely, Felidar Savior. This says when it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures you control. Another premium common card. This card is very good. Very, very good. I would say Felidar Savior and Big Fin Bouncer are close. They're both close. This has lifelink. It's pumping up the rest of our team. So far, our deck seems more like it may be leaning into a control deck. Like a, hey, I'm not going to let you play your deck, and then I'm going to eventually win by drawing a bunch of cards and having more answers than you do. That's what it seems like our deck is doing so far. Felidar Savior is not a card that's like, oh, I want to pivot into white. Because white is like, we want a bunch of creatures on the battlefield. So like white-green, white-red, maybe to some extent white-blue. But so far, the first two cards we've picked don't really align with this strategy. So it's a consideration, but I still think Big Fin Bouncer is better here. Okay. Eager Truffle Snout. I like this card. Not what we're going for at all. Power level wise, it's a 3-mana 4/2. It's not bad. It's not nearly as powerful as the other two cards we just highlighted, or rather the other 3 cards we just highlighted. Heartfire Immolator. Now, this has a consideration because it only costs 2 mana. It pairs very well with Arcane Epiphany, right? It costs 1 less to cast if we control a wizard. It also has prowess. It could be a solid blue-red card. I can sacrifice it to deal damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker, so it functions as a removal spell as well. Strong consideration. Pretty solid card. Inspiration from Beyond. It says mill 3 cards, then return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Good card, if specifically you're in the blue-black deck. So, I think I broke my rule here of like, I'm going to let you figure this out. I kind of already highlighted the card I'm picking. I'm still picking Big Fin Bouncer for the same reasons I mentioned before. This is a creature that goes on the battlefield that kicks something out and then stays on the battlefield. We don't have any creatures in our deck yet. So you could argue, yes, you should pick the Heartfire Immolator. It's a 2-drop, right? It only costs 2 mana. It has prowess. We can sacrifice it. It's a good card. I agree with that. But Big Fin Bouncer accomplishes 2 things at once. It kicks something out, and it stays on the battlefield. When this thing kills something, it leaves the battlefield. And in like Commander, Constructed, what have you, this is probably the better pick. In Limited, you want the card that sticks around. So we're going to pick Big Fin Bouncer. Okay. We're looking to be a blue-black deck, potentially. This is a black-white dual land. Okay. Another Giant Growth. That's like the 3rd one in a row. It goes to show you people don't value this card very highly because they're not picking it. Dwynen's Elite. When it enters, if you control another elf, create an elf token. Not that powerful. Courageous Goblin. Not at all what we're going for. Infestation Sage. Definitely not a bad card. We could potentially run that card, but let's see what else we got. Gutless Plunder. I already explained how this is not really that good. Strix, look out! We all do seem to be leaning heavily into blue. This is a pretty solid blue creature. Gives us some card selection. I like this card. We might pick it. We'll see. Aspiring Paladin. Not my favorite card. Seems like it's pretty good. You have to be in green-white to play this card, though. in this set because there's no other set that gives +1/+1 counter. I'm sorry, there's no other combination really that gives +1/+1 counters. Right, like you got mild-mannered librarian. You have to pay a bunch of mana to put counters on it. It's kind of like the green-white theme. It's really not what we're in right now. It's not that high quality of a card. Swiftfoot Boots. Oh my goodness, pick this card. No. No. Stop that. Stop that. Commander players, be warned. This might be one of the best cards in your commander deck because it's like, oh yeah, of course, I put this on my commander. In limited Magic, you don't have that luxury. You have to play whatever cards are in your hand. So when you draw Swiftfoot Boots, and you put that on the battlefield, and then there are no creatures to attach it to, you've now wasted your turn. I would so much rather play an Infestation Sage, right? When this thing dies, I get a 1/1 flyer. I can sacrifice the Infestation Sage. I can jump block the Infestation Sage. I can get that 1/1 insect flyer. I can synergize so much better. Swiftfoot Boots doesn't do anything unless I already have the correct board state. That doesn't happen as often in Limited as it does in Commander. In Commander, of course, yes, I have my rare, mythic, indestructible, hexproof, blah, blah, whatever Commander. In Limited, you don't have that very often. Most of your cards are just trying to get the job done. Generally not worth it to play 2 mana to put this card out that doesn't do anything when it enters. Pay an additional 1 mana to equip it to something. So it looks cool. It looks like, oh my god, I can't believe somebody passed this. This isn't Sol Ring. This isn't Black Lotus. This is Swiftfoot Boots, and it doesn't do anything unless you have a whole bunch of cards in your deck that are insanely powerful. And in limited Magic, you are rarely past those many powerful cards, and even less rarely do you open that many of them in sealed. So, moving on. Abrade. Choose one. Deal 3 damage to target creature or destroy an artifact for 2 mana at instant speed. This is exactly the kind of card that I like. This card is fantastic. So, now we have to make a choice. Do we want the red card, which is a pretty strong removal spell? Or do we want the 2-drop blue card that lets us filter our deck? Well, let's do some organizing here. In limited Magic, you are trying to build a deck, not just a pile of strong cards. With those first 4 picks, generally, yes, you do want to pick the strongest cards. So, if you're strictly going by those rules, Abrade is the 4th card you would like to pick for your deck. I'm going to break this rule a little bit because I like what I see in blue-black. Blue and black cards are being passed to me. I'm looking at this pack, and I'm going, Infestation Sage is a fairly strong common that nobody else has picked up in the first 3 picks. Similarly, Strix Lookout is a fairly decent blue card that nobody else seems to want to pick up. Meanwhile, the red card, Courageous Goblin, of course, people don't want to pick that very highly. Abrade, yeah, somebody should probably be taking this card, but we need more creatures, right? We only have 1 so far. Specifically, we need more cheap cards. Strix Lookout is a cheap card. It only costs 1 or 2 mana. So normally I would take Abrade and then lean to like a red-black or a blue-red kind of deck. But I feel like blue seems to be favoring us pretty heavily. And this is a very good card to play in a blue deck. So I think Strix Lookout is the correct card here. You could totally make an argument to play Abrade, but I'm going to pick Strix Lookout. So now we have a cheap 2 mana spell in blue. We have a cheap 1 mana spell in black that happens to also be a removal spell. Big Fin Bouncer, also a removal spell. And we'll see what we get. Well, I'm going to go in order. But boy, I just saw something that really popped out for me. This is a basic plains. Obviously, we're not picking that. That's not a dual land. Each pack has a chance to be a dual land or just a basic land. This is a basic land, so we'll pass on that. Quick Draw Katana. No. This card is bad. This card is extremely bad. Think about why this card is bad. The answer is because it costs 4 mana to give a creature +2/+0 and first strike only during your turn. 4 mana should equate to 4 power, 4 toughness. This is 2 toughness, 0 power, and first strike, but only during your turn. That's bad. Don't put this card in your deck, ever. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Llanowar Elves, great card. 1 mana. Again, we love our 1 mana cards. Adds a green mana. We're not seemingly in green. We don't seemingly want to be ramping in our current selection of 4 cards that we have, so we will pass on this, but somebody playing green will be very happy to see that card. Gorehorn Raider. This is 5 mana, which is a lot. If we're in the red-black deck, sure, this is something that we want, but meh. Not what we're going for here. Soul Shackled Zombie. When it enters exile, 2 cards from a single graveyard. If at least 1 creature was exiled, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. The 2 toughness makes this card pretty bad. If it had 1 extra toughness, I think I would value this card a little bit more, but for me, the juice is not worth the squeeze for this card, especially considering what else is in the pack. Crypt Feaster. 4 mana, 3/4 with Menace. Whenever this creature attacks, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Fantastic card in the black-blue deck. Terrible card in every other deck. This should be a blue-black card, but it's not. So, currently, in our deck, we have 1 card that synergizes with this, right? We have Strix Lookout. It says when we draw a card, we also get to discard a card. Also, just naturally, like playing spells like Stab and Arcane Epiphany, we'll be drawing cards, eventually discarding them. Having a 5/4 Menace for 4 mana is like, okay. Menace, by the way, when it attacks, it can't be blocked. It has to be blocked by at least 2 creatures. Not a bad card. But it costs 4 mana. That's a lot of mana. We already have Big Vim Bouncer and Arcane Epiphany, which costs 4 or 5 mana. So it's okay. But again, not a top pick for us. There's Lightshell Duo again. Like this card a lot, especially in blue-black or in blue-red. In decks where we're going to cast a lot of non-creature spells. I'm not going to say anything else. Solid card, but again, it does cost 4 mana. Squad Rallier. We're not in white at all. Also, this card is just not that good. I'm not going to read all of it. Balmor Battlemage Captain. Oh. Yeah. So, this card... Oh, I'm sorry, I should read this one. It's another mild-mannered librarian. We already read this card. This card is very, very strong. Very strong. It pumps our entire team and gives our team trample. This card is in my newly constructed commander deck. Don't tell anybody. As a finisher. It also only costs 2 mana. It's not necessarily in the color combination that we have. We're trying to build like this blue-black deck. But the fact that we're in pack 1, pick 5, that means people have... Okay, hold on. I should try to represent this more visually. I don't know if I can. Okay. In a real table of Magic. Look up here. Look at my screen. Hold on. Let me just... Okay. When you're playing Magic, Draft, you have all these cards in your hand, and you're saying, okay, I want this card. You put that card into your pile of cards, and then you pass the rest of the cards to the person to your left. And then you receive a pack of cards from the person to your right, and then you go, oh, okay. Oh, look at that. I want this card. Pick that card, and then you pass the rest of the cards to your left. Okay. So, after you're done going through all the cards and passing them to the player to your left, now you're going to open your pack of new cards. Say, I want this card. Take it, put it in your pile. You're now receiving cards from the player to your left rather than the person to your right. You have switched directions, and you're now accepting cards from another direction. Right, you pick the card and say, I want this one. If you pass it to your right, you then pick up this pile of cards from the player on your left, and you look at them. And you go in opposite directions each pack of cards you take. So, what this means... Let me zoom back out here. There we go. So what this means is the people I'm passing to the left, right? I'm passing to the left, correct. I've been passing to the left this entire time. The players sitting to my right are passing me these cards. They have now passed me a card, which means people to my right are not picking the blue-red cards specifically. They're taking green cards or black cards or white cards. There's only one white card in this whole pack, and it's not very good. That means white is not open. The people to my right are picking white cards. I don't want to compete with them. The people to my right might also be picking red cards because we don't see that many red cards. But the people to my right, very, very specifically, are not picking blue-red combo cards. They're not. Because this is the fifth card I've seen, or I'm sorry, the fifth pack I've seen. And if you recall the previous packs, I saw an Abrade, which is a very good red card. Nobody picked that card. I passed it along for a Strix Lookout. It was maybe better to pick the Abrade. We'll never know. Right? That's a signal. A signal means people to my right or to my left, depending on what pack I'm in, are indicating that this particular color combination is open. Right now, we're at pick 5, which means we have seen half of our table's picks are not playing the blue-red archetype. This is a very powerful blue-red card. We have mostly blue cards so far. We do have a black removal spell, which is a good card. But we're not married to being in blue-black. In fact, we're pretty open to being blue and then some other color. When you get past a card like this, it's like, yeah, blue is already one of your main colors. Red is a pretty powerful addition to your deck. We can be blue-black, splashing red. We can be base blue-red, splashing something else. This is your signal. This is how you decide, oh my god, if blue-red is open, if blue and red specifically are, blue seems like it's fairly strong for us already, but if blue-red specifically is open, we're going to crush this draft table. We're going to crush it. So we're going to pick this card. Alright, after all that, let's see what we got as a reward or a punishment. Green-black, dual land. Okay, sure. Alright, Gnarlid Colony is a 2-mana 2/2, so basically Grizzly Bears for people who have played way older Magic. Kicker 3. If it was kicked, it enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has trample. Somebody is going to be very happy to see this card. Not us. Doesn't synergize with what we're doing at all. Spitfire Lagak. 4-mana 3/4. Meh. Not very good. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, it deals damage to each opponent. No, not that good. Axguard Cavalry. Hey, that only costs 2 mana. That's good. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Talked about Soul Shackled Zombie. Fake your own death. Well, it's a combat trick, so it only gets used once. It does give us a bit of mana. It does let us punch a little bit higher than our weight class and kill something, so not a bad card, something we might consider. Elementalist Adept. Ho ho. 2 mana, 2/1. It's a wizard. It has flash and prowess. As a reminder, flash means we can cast it at Flash means we can cast it at instant speed whenever we want. Prowess means whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And it's a wizard. That means it pairs well with Arcane Epiphany. I should have also mentioned that Balmor, Battlemage Captain, pairs well with Arcane Epiphany. Because it's it costs 1 less if you control wizard. Midnight Snack. Raid at the beginning of your end step. If you attack this turn, create a food token. Sacrifice this enchantment. Target opponent loses X life, or X is the amount of life you gained this turn. It's an interesting card. It's really not what our deck is trying to pull off. So, no. Ruin Sealed Wall. 3 mana, 0/6 with Defender. We can tap it at any time, right? It doesn't say only as a sorcery, just at any time to surveil 1. So, I will let you decide what you think. I've already decided what I want, and I may have kind of indicated what I really like about this pack, but the answer is the Elementalist Adept. This is a really solid card, don't get me wrong. A 0/6 sustains you is really powerful. It lets you filter through your deck. I like this card a lot. But this is another wizard that synergizes with Arcane Epiphany, which is a very powerful card. It also can flash in and have prowess, so it's good early, it's good late, it's good mid-game. This card fits in our deck more, especially if we're kind of leaning into the blue-red wizards kind of deck. I love this card. It's a very, very neck-and-neck battle. So there's a rule when you're drafting. If you have a really strong inclination between two cards, the correct answer is to pick the cheaper card. I was about to say the stronger card. That is true. You should pick the stronger card. But when the cards are pretty equal in value, and in fact, here, let's pull up 17 lands data. This is pretty advanced if you're not. Mentalist Adept is a C. It has a 53% win rate, and then to Wall has a 51% win rate. So yeah, they're a couple percentage points apart. But anyway, I was gonna say, data, please back up my point. Good card. Not saying it's bad. It has its utility. This card is cheaper and has more utility, so we're picking it. All right. I love this pack because it is confirming what I already thought about our lane. I'll explain that in just a minute. All right. Green, white. We don't care. Firebrand Archer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay. That works in our blue-red deck, right? That makes sense to have. We'll consider it. Pilfer. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card, and that player discards that card. That is a mean card. Notice, I said it's a mean card. It's not that good in limited. In standard, in Vintage Cube, in formats that matter, hey, this person might have this insane combo in their hand. Yeah, that matters. In limited, not so much. Just generally speaking. Refute. Counter spell. Draw a card, then discard card. This card is bonkers. So, in Magic... Oh, I'm sorry, you can't even... Oh, sorry. Let me move my stupid face down. In Magic, blue counterspell is considered extremely good. And in fact, in Final Fantasy, they did reprint that card. But in general, if you see an opponent with 2 untapped blue mana, you should be fearful that they have counterspell. Literally, aptly named counterspell in their hand. More modern Magic sets have had counterspell plus 1 colorless mana to have the same effect, but with a twist. In Lord of the Rings, it's Saruman's Trickery, which is 2 blue mana plus 1 colorless mana. You counter a spell, and then you amass Orcs 1. In other words, you put a 1/1 Orc onto the battlefield, or you add power to the Orc army's power. That's one example. That card is really good, by the way. In this particular setting, Refute says we get to counter a spell, then we get to draw a card and discard a card. So we get to filter through our deck, which is exactly what you want to be doing if you're a blue deck. You want to be saying, oh yeah, let's draw a card. We have 3 cards in our hand. Oh, I don't want this land. I'm going to pitch that. Or I don't want this 7 mana card. I'm going to just get rid of that. This card is very good. Very, very good. For any blue deck, we're probably taking this. Inspiring Paladin is a 3 mana 3/3. Okay, the stats check out. During your turn, it has first. Oh, I already talked about this. Yeah, we're not playing this deck. Fishing Pole. No. I'm not even reading that card. Ether Eyes. If you want to just read it for yourself. No. Just no. Stop trying to make fetch happen, Gretchen. It's not happening. Ether Eyes. 4 mana. Instant. Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. Funny card. Great in Commander. In fact, in a handful of limited games I played in paper, this card won me the game. It's very situational. Refute is good in more situations than Ether Eyes, even though Ether Eyes is an uncommon card and it has a much higher ceiling. Refute is better in more of the common situations. When you are playing limited Magic, you are going to face the common situations more frequently than you are the endgame positions. So the correct card to choose here is Refute. If you are playing a white deck, Stroke of Midnight might seem appealing to you. I'll let you read the card. You destroy a non-land permanent, and then its controller creates a 1/1 creature token. There's a reason we're at pick 7, and nobody has chosen this card. And the reason is because destroying a permanent for 3 mana and then giving your opponent a 1/1 is bad for you. Again, in constructed, limited, whatever, like, yeah, you've now destroyed their commander, which is like an 8/8 menace, vigilance, hexproof, indestructible, blah blah, whatever. Obviously, it can't be hexproof or this card wouldn't work, but you get my point. You've gotten rid of your opponent's win condition. In limited Magic, it's often not one permanent that's a win con in and of itself. So you're going to exchange one of their like mid-range or like beefy things for a 1/1. They can still chump block with it. They can sacrifice it. They can attack with it. Like, it's not good in limited. If you don't believe me, I will do a much deeper dive on this later. But our cards Refute. This card is clearly the best card in the pack for our deck. We'll put it over here in the removal area. There we go. Okay. So, this is pick 8, which means the next pack of cards we will receive is the wheel. If you hear people talking about the wheel, it's the thing where you've already seen all the packs. You've seen every card in the packs that have been passed to you, and you're now back to your original pack that you opened, and you get to see which cards have been taken out of that pack. To me, this is the most critical and interesting part of drafting. It's the pack before you see the wheel, and then the wheel itself. This is how we determine where you're going to end up in your deck. What color combination do you want? Beyond this point, in my opinion, there are other content creators, there are other podcasts I listen to, there are other people who play Magic who are smarter than me, who have been playing this game longer than me, who are better than me at Magic, who will probably refute my point. See what I did there? Refute. Anyway, if you're new at draft and you're kind of learning how this works, this is, in my opinion, the most critical position possible. Where are we right now? What deck do we have? What is our dominant color? Look at the bottom left here. What is our dominant color? It's blue. It's obviously blue. Our blue cards are the strongest cards that we have seen passed to us so far. So obviously we're a blue deck. It is super easy for us to be in blue. So what is our second color? This is the question right now. What is the second color? Is it black? Is it red? I mean, we have very good reasons to be in black or red. So those are kind of the colors we want to consider. Is it green? No. Of course not. This card sucks. Sorry. I'm going to get ambushed by a wolf tomorrow when I go to work. No, this is not the card we want to lean into green. Fleeting Flight? This is a white card. +1/+1 counter. A creature gains flying. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to it this turn. So it only lasts one turn. I mean, the counter stays, but my point stands. These are all common cards. We can cross white and green off of our list. These cards suck, relatively speaking. Now, if we open a bomb white spell or a bomb green spell in our second pack, maybe it's worth considering. But right now, in our current state, no. No, we're not picking those cards. Absolutely not. So what do we pick? A blue-red dual land. Not a bad pick at all. Not at all. This helps us either splash into our red spell if we're going to be like a blue-black deck, splashing into a red spell, or it just lets us be more consistently blue and red. So this is a consideration. Goblin Surprise. Creatures you control get +2/+0 or create 2 goblin creature tokens. No. I get it. It synergizes with the Prowess creature, right? It synergizes with Balmor, right? Because it's going to cast an instant or sorcery, and then it gives us +1/+0. Like, I understand the synergy here. But it's 3 mana for 2 1/1s? No. Or 4 additional power with 0 toughness? Like, no. If we're playing the red-white or the red-black deck, maybe this is a card to consider, but doesn't really work in our blue-black/blue-red deck. Similarly, Goblin Borders, 3 mana, 3/2. If we attack this turn, it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it, right? Because of the raid mechanic. The raid mechanic says this ability triggers if a creature you control attacked this turn. Not a terrible card, but not what this deck is trying to do. That's probably the overarching theme here is, what is your deck that you're currently building trying to do? We have the luxury of time here where we're drafting against bots, right? We don't have humans on either side of us saying, hey, come on, dude, pick your card already. This is not what we want in our deck. Not at all. Sanguine Siphoner. Again, no. More so belongs in a red-black deck, not in our deck. So, Aegis Turtle. It's a 1-drop, which we love. It's a 0/5, so it can attack, but it can block a bunch of things. But ultimately, doesn't do very much. My pick is the dual land. It keeps us more open. It says, hey, we can splash the red spell, or if we can just be blue-red, maybe we splash the black spell. We don't really know yet. The turtle is okay. If you click, by the way, this thing right here, this little thing that looks like it's like it's giving us the finger, right next to the deck picture, you can see how many creatures you have, how many non-creatures you have, how many of each converted mana cost each of your cards are. It's a handy tool. Also tells you the pips of each color. I don't think we want to turtle that badly. I'm not saying it's a bad card, although honestly I think it's a fairly bad card. But the blue-red dual land is the card we want to take. Also, the fact that we're in pack 8, that means every single other player in our entire draft pod has chosen one card out of the pack. And we see a blue-red land in our pack, means nobody else cares about blue-red. Nobody. We got this, like, pick 5, I think? More evidence that nobody cares about blue-red. So, this is probably our lane. That's what we kind of call this thing. The lane you're supposed to be in is the card color combination you have identified as open. In other words, nobody else at your table, right, the other 7 drafters, and then you, that's 8 people total, nobody else cares about this particular color combination. Clearly, blue is open. People at your table are not valuing blue as highly as you are. So it's now up to you to decide, am I going to be a blue-red deck, a blue-black deck, a blue-green deck, a blue-white deck? It seems like we're kind of torn between blue-red and blue-black. Okay, so what do we got? Giant Growth? No, don't care about green. Ambush Wolf? No, don't care about green. Sure Strike? It's okay. It's not bad. But Erudite Wizard? Oh. Well. This card was in our opening pack. Nobody else picked this card. That means nobody else values this card. We also have Goblin Negotiation. Deals X damage to a creature. We create a number of goblins equal to the excess damage dealt to that creature this turn. If you ask me, this card's not worth it. It's double pipped. That means it's 2 red mana. That's already harder to cast. It also sounds like it's a good idea. It does synergize with Balmor, right? Like, suddenly all of our creatures, right? Maybe we have an excess of goblin creatures and we pair them up to give them trample and whatnot. But this card still costs a lot of mana. In blue-red specifically, you want like low-cost cards. You want low mana cards. And yes, an Offer You Can't Refuse is a low mana card, but again, I will remind you, in Limited, this card's very bad. Very, very bad. You don't want to give your opponent the same, if not more, than you're putting into the cost of a card. So, we're going to pick the Wizard. It might not be the strongest card, but it fits into our deck, right? Strix Lookout. We draw a card, then discard a card. Oh, Refute. We draw a card, then we discard a card. Arcane Epiphany. We're drawing more cards, right? Like, this card, although not very powerful on its own, could be a filler card. What I mean by filler card is you need to have 23 playable cards in your deck at the end of your draft. Erudite Wizard may or may not make the final cut. But if it does, it's probably like, yeah, you're like my 22nd or 23rd card I want to include in this deck. We're not putting Goblin Negotiation in our deck. We're not putting an Offer You Can't Refuse in our deck. We're not putting Sure Strike in our deck? Maybe we are, if we have literally nothing else. I think this is actually in my commander deck, the Xyrus Storm. But again, that deck has a completely different goal. Limited is a completely different type of game. It's still Magic, but it's a different kind of strategy for Magic. So this is the card that wheeled to us. We're going to take it. May or may not make our final cut. Okay. Giant Growth still getting passed around. Dude, somebody has a green pump deck. And it might not be that good, but it's a pump deck nonetheless. X-Card Cavalry. It's nice because it's like it only costs 2 mana. But we now have 3 cards that cost 2 mana. We have a card that costs 1 mana, which we may or may not play. There is a general rule here to quote-unquote stay on par. I am stealing this from a podcast I listen to, Limited Level Ups by Alex Nikolic. Listen to him if you haven't. He's amazing. To be on par during your first pack of Magic cards when you are drafting, you want at least 3 cards that are 1 or 2 drops. That means they're just 1 or 2 converted mana cost. So we have Elementalist, we have Strix Lookout, and we have Belmore. So we've hit our par. We have the 3 cards that we're looking for our cheap cards. We also have a Stab, which kind of counts as a cheap card, but the other category here is you want to have removal spells, at least 2 of them per pack. So what do we have? We have Stab, which is 1. That's a removal spell. We have Refute, which is another one. So that's 2. Big Fin Bouncer. You can maybe count this as 3. It's an interaction spell, so I'd say we have like 2.5 removal spells. Right? I don't know if we're really leaning into blue-black at this point, considering the only black card in our pack is Marauding Blight Priest, and this really belongs in the black-white deck. Doesn't really help us very much, right? Giant Growth is a no. X-Card Cavalry, like giving something else haste is like not very helpful. That's really not how this deck is going to win. Witness Protection. It's not that good of a card. It's a removal spell that gets rid of a giant threat, but it leaves the opponent with a 1/1. But considering that black doesn't seem very open, chances are we're going to have to get rid of Stab, and in its place play Witness Protection, which is not as good in a lot of situations, but can be better at, say, getting rid of like a 7/7 or like a 6/6, like something gigantic on the board. Having a good diversity of removal spells is also really strong, and this card kind of fits that bill, whereas the other cards don't really do very much for our deck at all. So we'll take Witness Protection, add it to our removal pile. Ooh, interesting. Wary Thespian should not be wheeling. The bot picking the green cards is doing a bad job, or they're the person sitting directly to our left. And they're reaping all the benefits. But anyway. Goblin Borders. Great card for an aggressive deck. Are we an aggressive deck? No. So we don't really want that. Mocking Sprite. 3 mana, instant and sorcery spells. Cost 1 less to cast. Well, let's see. We have 3 instant spells so far. They are Stab, which we might not run, so we can get rid of that. Refute, and Arcane Epiphany. So again, not a bad card. It affects the board, and it helps us with our other spells. But, Light Shell Duo. When it enters, we Surveil 2, so that's card selection right off the bat when it enters, plus it has Prowess. Whenever we play a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+1. So, I literally just told you guys, when in doubt, pick the cheaper card. Well, when the more expensive card has that much more utility and power to it, I would actually say pick this card. This is very tempting. It's a 2/1 flyer, right? It sneaks in for damage. It makes our spells easier to cast. It doesn't ruin our curve. But we only have one other spell, or sorry, creature rather, that costs 4. And this card is kind of deceptive. Yes, in the blue-red deck, and the blue-black deck, yes, this is one of the cards to select. But the 4 toughness just matters so much. It gets around fight spells and bite spells and burn spells, and your opponent just has such a harder time dealing with this creature because it has 4 toughness. 3 mana, 1 toughness is just painful because it dives to stab, and stab is a really commonly chosen card. So this is some extra information that I have about playing this set that you don't have. But I'm picking the duo over the sprite because I think there's a good chance we see another sprite and we'll just kind of pick it up for free because nobody cares about this card. Whereas I think there was another Lightshell duo that was kind of passed around in an earlier pack that I think got picked up, and this one didn't. So we're going to take it. Well, how many giant growths? The person to my left, if they're a real human, has like the mono green or like green red deck that just like stomps people. But it's not this deck, that's for sure. This is like the blue-black card, which is pretty good. Swift Boots is still just like, no, we don't want this card. If you want it for your collection, yeah, just take it. But we're going to just take the Gutless Plunderer, but I don't think we really want it. That's a Katana, which is just bad. We're going to just chuck that in our sideboard. Spitfire Lagak, not really what we want. I'll grab it, but oh, well, that's a pack, all right. I mean, yep. Hold on, I just want to. I'm just putting this in the Discord. I'm trying to teach people like responsible drafting. And then this gets past you. So, here's a rule in general, like with drafting. In pack 2, like if you open a card that's just insanely broken, you pick the card. We now have a much stronger reason to go into blue-black than blue-red. I'm not saying that blue-red isn't good. Like, we have plenty of cards that fit into blue-red, like Balmor is a good card, but this is just so much more powerful than any red card. In fact, any blue card, black card, white. This is better than almost any other card in the set. And we already happen to be kind of leaning into that color, right? Because we have Stab and Gutless Plunderer. So I'm going to ignore the other color cards because it's way too late to pivot into them. Vampire Gourmand, I don't know. This card, the one that lets you sacrifice something else to make this unblockable, and then we draw an extra card. Phenomenal card. Like, if Liliana wasn't in the pack, we would probably pick this, but we have the Turtle, which, not very good. Big Fin Bouncer, which is pretty freaking good. Refute, also pretty freaking good. And then Crypt Feaster, meh. Maybe like your 23rd card, but not that good. You've got power. You have insane power. This card goes in your deck. If you can support it, you want this. So I was mentioning earlier, again, like blow myself up here if I can. Shoot. In the first pack, I am picking a card, right? Putting it in my thing, and then I'm passing it to the players to my left. That means the people to my right, because we didn't see that many good black cards, we can bet one or maybe two people to our right are playing black. But now we're seeing the other half of the table. We're passing. Pick Parker. I want this card. Okay. Well, I'm passing this card to the player to my right. And now the players to my left are bringing me cards. Players to my left aren't necessarily invested in black cards. So there's a good chance that even though we saw black cards kind of dry up when we're passing our cards to the left and seeing players from our right, the players to our left, they might not care about black cards. We passed a lot of good green and white cards to them. They want to be in green and white. We might start seeing, even though like maybe blue might dry up a bit, right? Like maybe they're in blue to our left, but maybe they don't really care about black cards. You have to think about these things. That's right, Calvin. Calvin doesn't want to bet. Calvin doesn't want to think about these things. But he's got him. He's my son. Oh, goodness. Well, probably can't see him, but... Well, he settled pretty easily. Anyway. You have to think about what the players to your left and to your right are doing. The player exactly across from you, who's going to be your first opponent, you can't try to read them. They're in a world of their own. But the players immediately like 1 and 2 seats next to you on either side should weigh heavily on you. Anyway, insanely powerful card. It's in a color pair that we're kind of considering, right? We're definitely in blue, and we're deciding, do we want to be blue-red or blue-black? Well,
I am the master here.
As Liliana just said, we would very much like to be blue-black. Let's see what the rest of the pack shows us. Treetops, green card, don't care. Red card that goes with raid, red-black, don't care. Goblin Surprise, nope. Goblin, nope, don't care. Soul Shackled Zombie, don't really care. Refute, yeah, care. White card, no. White card, no. Heir Apparent is a good card. I'll get into that in a different video, maybe. Perforating Artist. Love this card. Insanely oppressive. If we're in red-black, like, oh my god, we want this card. We're way too deep into blue to take this card. We would need to splash it, which we can kind of maybe do with Swiftwater Cliffs, but this card is more of an aggressive, oppressive card. Our deck is not exactly designed to do that. Our deck is designed to, so far, play some good 2-3 drops, draw some cards, like stabilize us, get rid of their threats, bounce their stuff, and then play our powerful things. We're more of a blue-black, like, controlling kind of deck. Threshold, kind of. I hope we see that blue-black, what is that? Bird, raven, like, thing. I'm blanking on the name of it, but that's what we really want to see. Not saying this card's bad. This card's phenomenal. It just doesn't really belong in our deck. Seeker's Folly, again, 3 mana to do so. Like, it's not a bad card. Like, maybe if we wheel this card, we could include it in our deck if we don't have anything else. But it's just for 3 mana in limited. It's not as powerful as something like Refute. Offer You Can't Refuse. Already told you why this card's bad. Claws out. Holy crap, yeah. The people to my left would have loved to see this, and now it's going to go all the way around the table until one of them finds it. But anyway, these are bots, so they don't have that same emotional response. The card pick here is Refute. Oh. Oh. Oh, I love this. Oh, yeah. No. I already told you why not. Green card, no. Told you why this card is a no. Fake your own death is okay. It's a combat trick. Not something we want that badly. Think twice. Really like this card. Would be a strong consideration if it weren't for something else in here. But pretty decent card. Refute, also obviously, yeah, we like Refute a lot. We have 2 of them already. No, not in our color pair. Not in our color pair. No, we're kind of going off of blue-red. Vampire Nighthawk. 3 mana 2/3, which I already said is like, oh, that's not really that good. Oh wait, it has flying. Okay. Death Touch, oh, and Lifelink, oh. Those are 3 really good keywords. This card can stall most games unless somebody points a removal spell at it, in which case you're ready to go with other creatures or even a counter spell that gets rid of that removal spell. This card is a nuisance. When you are playing a blue-black, more like controlling deck, this is exactly what you want. You want to be a complete nuisance. This card gets poached by pretty much any black deck. This is good in black-white because it has lifelink. This is good in black-blue because it has Death Touch and Flying. This is good in black-red because it has Death Touch and Flying, right? This is good even like black-green, same thing. It has Flying, Death Touch, lifelink. This card works in every single black deck. We're taking it. We are solidified now in blue-black. We're going to consider splashing red if the right powerful red cards are there. Balmor is a powerful red and blue card. Spitfire Lagak is really not one of those things. It's not worth the splash, even though it has a nice ability. It's just not worth the splash. So probably cutting that. So I'll just cut that now. So, okay, Gleaming Barrier. Another card that goes into any deck technically, especially our deck, which is more like a control deck, like something that's trying to stabilize. Not bad because it's a 2-drop. It only costs 2 mana. We're kind of light on those right now, so something we honestly might consider. But let's get back to it. Green card, love this card. Fantastic for green decks. Not what we're going for. 4 mana, 4/3, bad. Target creature can't block this turn. Also bad. Wait, what? Is this like my first time seeing this card? This is horrible. That might be one of the worst cards I've ever seen printed of Magic. Anyway, moving on. Marauding Blight Priest really doesn't fit our deck. Think twice. Draw a card. Flashback for 3 mana to draw another card. Flashback, by the way, means you can cast it from your graveyard and then exile it. It's not bad. We don't have the cards that really synergize with it that well, so probably skipping it. No. Snakeskin Veil, annoying, but no. Bolt Wave, no. This is a 1-drop, not bad. Essence Scatter. Oh, yeah, that's actually pretty good. All right. So it's kind of between the Barrier, the Ghoul, and the Essence Scatter. All right, well, I know what I picked, but I'm going to leave it up to y'all to decide. Think about what our deck is trying to do, and then decide the card that we want. We are building a deck, not a pile of cards. So what is right for our deck? Did you pause? What did you find? The answer is counter target creature spell. We are building a control deck. We are building a deck that says we want your deck to run out of things to do while we draw our more powerful cards. So it's like, yeah, we need more creatures in our deck, and you're right, we do. We need more 2-drop and cheap things, but Essence Scatter technically is a 2-drop. Right? We just hold up that mana and decide, oh, you're going to play your 3 or 4 mana thing? I'm going to counter that. We want to get to Liliana. This card is broken. When we cast this card, we win the game. Barring certain circumstances, or like deal 4 mana to any or whatever, when we play Liliana, we win the game. We want to get to this card, which means we want to stall out as much as possible, and we want to draw cards whenever possible. Things like Vampire Nighthawk, things like Essence Scatter, things like Stab, Refute, Big Fin Bouncer. This prolongs the game and gets us to the card that we want that's going to take over the game and win. There are few, if any, cards in Foundations that can deal with this card. We just smoke people when we get this out in play. Anyway, that being said, black-green, no. Green, no. Yeah, this card, it's red, it's 1 mana, no. No. It can't block? No, that's terrible. 5 mana, 3/2 that can't block? Get this out of my sight. What? Is this a real card? When it enters, return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. I guess it's like a black-white or black-green thing. This card is horrible. Okay. In limited, caveat, in limited, it's horrible. Tolarian Terror. Oh. Mm-hmm. We have 5 instant spells. This is probably what we want. No. 4 mana, 1/1. Whenever I draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. No. Cut this card from your deck. I don't care who you play. I don't care how many card draw spells you have. I don't care how many extra turns you get to take. 4 mana for a 1/1 that has to grow later is bad. It's bad. It's bad and constructed in most formats. There are maybe a few decks where this works. But even I put this in my commander deck and said, oh, okay, maybe this will like do something because I draw so many cards, like because of the way my deck plays out. I realized through playtesting that this card is really, really, really bad. It just dies to cheap removal on the stack when it's like, I just drew like 7 cards. I'm going to put 7 +1/+1 counters on it. In response, I will pay 1 mana to stab it and kill it before it can get all those counters. And of course, that doesn't always happen. But you have to be prepared for plays like that. And this card is so deceptive. It's like, oh, this is amazing. If you play a decent or good or great opponent, this card is completely awful. Do not fall for this trap. Pick Tolarian Terror. The proper card. Oh my god. Well, sorry, I shouldn't have highlighted that. Dismal Backwater, blue-black. Obviously a nice dual land for our blue-black deck, which we're obviously creating here. Sure Strike. Nope, not what we're trying to do. Involuntary Employment. Yeah, this is a funny card. It's like the sack steal thing, right? You steal your opponent's strongest creature, attack with it. They probably don't block because it's like they want to get this creature back at the end of their turn. And then you play something like Eaten Alive, where you sacrifice a creature you control to exile something that your opponent controls. Like, it's a funny combo. Doesn't work that often in limited, so I generally pass on it. Yeah, this is like it works in the blue black deck. I understand, but not the strongest card we see in the pack. I'll get to that. Eaten Alive, pretty good removal spell, but how many removal spells do we already have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interaction slash removal spells. Probably don't necessarily need this one in light of Fleeting Distraction. It's a combat trick. It draws us a card. We don't have many card draw payoffs, so probably don't want this card. This is the land that lets us play. I'm just gonna read it. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend it only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, or activate activate an ability of a creature source of the chosen type. So we've got like otters and vampires and wizards and birds, and it's like this just doesn't work in our deck. We're not a tribal deck at all. However, Primeborn Cutthroat. We need more like 2 mana early spells, right? And this says when we cast a spell during an opponent's turn, we put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Well, we happen to have a bunch of instant spells. We have a flash, right? Yep. Elementalist Adept is flash. We have ways to do this, right? We have ways to turn this card on, and we need more of those 2-drop cards. Remember I was saying, like, we got to be on par. We have a plethora of removal spells at this point in time. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll say 5.5, because like this isn't entirely a removal spell, but it is like a tempo effect, like board affecting card. So like 5.5 removal spells. We only have 3 2-drops, and then we might get rid of this one. When I say 2-drop, I mean specifically a card that costs 2 mana that stays on the board. We might cut Balmor. It's looking less and less likely to make the final cut, so we'll take this. There we go. Well, again, another very interesting path we're given here. Mountain, no. Again, we just talked about how we do want 2 mana spells. This is not a bad one, especially if we're trying to stall out the game. Incinerating Blast is in red, which we don't care as much about. 5 mana to deal 6 to something. The discard a card to draw a card is nice, but we have much more efficient removal, right? We have removal spells that cost way less than this. We don't need this. I've already told you why we don't want this. Tolarian Terror. Nice to have another one, but you don't want too many of these in your deck, especially if you don't have that many instant and sorcery spells. This is an okay combat trick, but we have Tragic Banshee. This is a really nice card, especially considering all of the removal we have. However, it says if a creature died this turn, well, stab is the only thing that's making a creature die as far as removal spells we have, right? This is counter, this is counter, this is return, and this is turn something into something else. I think we have death touch things, and we have other, like, we also have time stop, which is like time walk but on their turn, which is just like rude, but it's also pretty funny. We're not taking this card. It's just this card's pretty funny. Anyway, if you ask me, the correct card here is actually the more boring one, which is Gleaming Barrier. Yeah, this card is more flashy. This is, oh yeah, this enters and it's gonna kill something. But we just already have so many ways to do that, and we are so behind on 2-drops. So even though this is the better card, and again we're in like pack 2, so normally I would say yeah, you just pick this card. Well, I'm now second guessing myself. We are more likely to see this card later. We're more likely to see other 2-drops later. The correct pick probably is Tragic Banshee. It's slightly riskier. This is like the more, oh, we're gonna have a 2-drop consistent, but at the same time, even though we are trying to round out our curve, we are playing a control deck. We do want as many removal spells as we can get. This doesn't help us do that. It helps us stall, but we already have a number of ways to stall. So we'll take the Tragic Banshee. That may have been a mistake. We'll see. No. Sage. Yeah, this is a decent card. It's decent. Not what we're going for, but it's decent. Yeah. Uncharted Voyage is another removal spell. It's a good card. It puts target creature, again, not permanent creature, puts it on top or bottom of their library, and then I get to card filter. Pretty nice card. Light Shell Duo. Another one of these is not bad. Juggernaut. No, I still don't get what that card is meant to do. Imprisoned in the Moon. Enchant a creature, land, or planeswalker. It is a colorless land with add colorless and loses. No. In Commander, yes. Yeah, dude, this card's great. In Limited, no. You're helping your opponent ramp, and you're spending 3 mana to do it. I get it. They could have a really powerful creature or commander. Or, I'm sorry, a powerful creature or planeswalker. But on turn 3, 4, 5, whatever, do you really want to let your opponent ramp and have more mana to spend for 3 of your mana when you could be playing something like Vampire Nighthawk, which shuts that thing down anyway? No, you don't. That's why it's getting passed so late. Anyway, what fits best in our deck? I really like Uncharted Voyage. It's a good card, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 removal spells already. We are a bit lacking in the creature department as far as cheap creatures go. We have some big things already in our deck. Right, we have Delirium Terror. These are the instant spells. Yeah, there's only 5 instant spells. I mean, this does count as another instant. It is kind of nice to have a creature on the battlefield. Again, not what our deck is trying to do. This card is not trying to attack that often. This is probably going to get cut. It's nice to have a 1-drop, especially one that kind of punches above its weight class, but Infestation Sage is also really good because after it chump blocks, it comes back. Kind of tight between these two. We're just so heavy into blue. Having a black 1-drop is like, we'll play it every now and then, but sorry, I'm now like weighing options and not really talking for consideration. Okay. I think it's this card. It's good to have cheaper spells in your deck. It becomes harder to cast them. and we will probably see cards like this later on. But at the same time, the argument is what our deck really needs, right? Because we have so many removal spells already. What our deck really needs is something cheap to kind of get on board and stabilize before our opponent can run away with the game. And the correct thing to do is to play an Infestation Sage, because it can chump block, and then it can chump block again against a creature with flying. So I think that's what I'm going to pick. And yeah, we do get rewarded, because now on the wheel, again, we were in Pack 2, about to see the next set of cards that wheel to us. We see another Refute, and we also see an Aegis Turtle. We have, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. We're not hurting for removal spells. We are hurting for early spells that slow the game down. So even though Refute is the stronger card, do we take another counter spell, or do we take the cheap card? I say, because there's a good chance we're cutting this. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we take the cheap card. No. No. Yeah, we'll just cut the yeah, no, we probably don't want this, but we'll take it anyway. Hey, okay. Apparently people don't want Refute, which is crazy to me. We'll take a Think Twice. It's card draw, so. Okay, Bolt Wave, no thank you. Bolt Wave again, no thank you. Okie doke. Oh, okay. Interesting. Let's see what we got here. We're just going to skip the cards that are not in our colors. An Infestation Sage, which I just talked about being a pretty solid card. Chump blocks and then chump blocks again. Good to have out early. Witness Protection. Well, let's go back to our removal pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 removal spells, which is already quite a bit. We can lean into the control deck if we want to, but we're kind of already there. Don't think that's the best card for us. When this enters, draw a card, then discard a card. This is kind of the type of card we're looking for in a control deck, where it's like, yes, we're controlling the board, controlling the board, controlling the board. Then all of a sudden, okay, 5 mana, 3, 4 flying. That's not good. In fact, that's pretty bad. But it lets us draw a card, then discard a card, and then you realize, oh, this has evasion and keeps hitting me in the air. This starts to get very annoying. So that's a consideration. But another Big Fin Bouncer is in this pack. This card is just phenomenal. Such a good tempo play. Again, it just stalls the game until we get to Liliana. Once we get Liliana, oh boy. Oh boy. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures of their choice. Opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. Oh yeah. Like, this card is nuts. Big Fin Bouncer is just better than everything else here. Midnight Snack, again, just not quite good enough. Hopefully we wheel the Infestation Sage or the Bird or the Witness Protection. There's a good possibility. I think Infestation Sage will be gone, but the Bird or the Witness Protection might still be there. But Big Fin Bouncer is just so good. I know it's expensive. We gotta balance out our curve if we can. Broken Wings. No. Destroy an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying for 3 mana. Extremely situational. Not very good. The red cards, we've explained why these are meh, not very good. Eaten Alive. I like this card. It's a good card. It's a control card. We have a lot of removal already. Nothing else here is helping us. So did we take the Erudite Wizard? Don't have that much card draw, honestly. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6. How many creatures do we have? 13? Eaten Alive is more diversity at removal, so we'll take it. We can sacrifice the turtle or infestation sage to make it work. Oh, well then we get rewarded with another... oh man. Well, I would say Gleaming Barrier is good, but Elementalist Adept is just another one of those wizards that we love in this deck. Self-Reflection is just... it's interesting. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Which is like, if it was any creature, I would pick this. But it says a creature you control. Which in our deck is just not quite going to be good enough. So we want the cheap card. Yes, there's another Otter here, but like, we need more cheap stuff. Hopefully that wall kind of makes its way around town. I don't think we're going to take Balmor. Or I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to keep Balmor. It's not doing what our deck wants to do. What is this? Electro Duplicate. 3 mana sorcery. Token that's... I'm sorry. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except that it has haste and at the beginning of sacrifice. Okay, no. We don't want that. Pilfer. At this point in time, in a control blue-black kind of deck, yeah, this kind of fits right in. But... Icewind Elemental is also pretty good. Pilfer is just, it's not that good. I'm just thinking, what else are we going to cut here? This is going to help us close out the game more consistently, even though it's more expensive. Oh, wow, yeah, we take it. Oh, man. These cards don't matter. Pilfer, we talked about. Bake into a Pie. This card is phenomenal. But we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 removal spells. This is a 1 mana flash flyer, and then later on we can draw a card off of it. Again, it doesn't have the card draw payoffs, but it's very nice to have it, that 1 mana slot. Probably what we want to take. Fake your own death. I don't care about this. This Sky Mage, I already told you why I don't want this. Anything we can hate draft? Screw over other people. If you don't know what this is, hate drafting is when you take a card that's really powerful for somebody else at your table and put it in your sideboard. This card is a strong card. Anybody to my left playing green-black would love to see this card, so I'm just going to take it away from them because there's nothing else in that pile of cards that I want because I'm a jerk. But that's how you should draft it. There's nothing else you want in the pack. When it enters, you may search for physical land. Nope, I don't want that. Possibility. Nope, I don't want that. Ravenous Amulet. Attack for the creature, draw a card, and put a soul counter. Nope, don't want that. Ah, yes, Brineborn Cutthroat. Another one. Yes, we'll take another copy of that. The turtle. Sure. We're at the end here. Okay, yeah, well, there's another Elemental. I don't want two of those, so we'll just take another witness protection. But again, I'm not sure we want a second copy of those. And then it's just a bunch of red and green cards, so we'll just grab whatever. Oh, hello. The Gleaming Barrier did in fact wheel to us. Cycling Cyclops. Nope, don't care about that. These cards are no good. Okay. There's the draft. I will be right back for the deck build, and then we will do the games tomorrow, because I am too tired. Be right back.